Good afternoon. I'm Peter Sparanese, City Manager for the City of Abbotsford. Mayor Henry Braun will be providing you with an update on the state of the emergency, some of the repair works that have been completed to date, as well as an update regarding any emergency orders. I ask that you hold all your questions until he has completed his remarks. Staff will be on hand with microphones as well, as we would like to be able to capture your questions as part of this overall briefing. Please ensure you speak loudly into the mic. Thank you, and over to our Mayor, Henry Braun.
Thank you, Peter, and good afternoon. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are located on the traditional territories of the Tsemeth, Matsqui, Lakamo First Peoples. I'm Henry Braun, the Mayor of Abbotsford, and with me today is our City Manager, Peter Sparanese. Through the balance of yesterday and overnight, conditions continue to improve here in Abbotsford. The Barrowtown floodgates are open, even with the Fraser River levels being variable due to tides, and the water level in Sumas Prairie Lake bottom has dropped 7 inches in the last 24 hours, thanks to our Barrowtown pump station. While 7 inches or 178 millimeters is still good progress for one day, there is still a lot of water to be pumped out. The Sumas Prairie Lake bottom is approximately 4.5 kilometers in diameter, with upwards of 5 to 6 feet or 1.6 meters of water at its deepest point. Last night, we were able to lift the evacuation order for Huntington Village, although the larger evacuation order remains in place throughout Sumas Prairie. As the weather continues to cooperate with us, we hope to be able to start lifting additional evacuation orders in the next few days. However, as I said yesterday, there are several factors that need to be in place in order for those orders to be lifted. First and foremost, we need roads to be reopened. As you know, earlier today, the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure announced the reopening of Highway 1 between Abbotsford and Hope. This is great news, not only for our residents, but also for people, goods, and services to be able to once again access this key transportation corridor. And it's my understanding that at roughly 2 p.m., Abbotsford Police Department will escort both eastbound and westbound traffic to make sure that there's no oncoming traffic, because we've been using that freeway east-west on one side. We still have some floodwater running south to north across Boundary Road and Vi Road, although we expect to see water levels continue to subside over the next couple of days, which will allow these routes to open up as well. We also need to ensure that all of the properties that require a reassessment due to reflooding are evaluated by our rapid damage assessment teams, which are out in full force today. As we continue to focus our efforts towards recovery, our key concern is ensuring that people can safely access their properties. And in that vein, we know that there is still a lot of hard work ahead for our community and our farmers. I want to assure our residents that we will continue to do everything in our power to support you as you rebuild from this disaster. We are working with the provincial and federal governments, advocating for every bit of support and funding possible. Last week, the province announced their partnership with the Canadian Red Cross to provide additional financial assistance to help people meet the immediate needs associated with being evacuated due to flooding. People whose primary residences have been placed on evacuation orders due to the flooding and extreme weather event that occurred November 14 through 16, will receive $2,000 per household. While we know that this is just the tip of the iceberg on what's needed, it's a start. Additionally, Samaritan's Purse is here in Abbotsford, providing direct support to people as they consider what's ahead. Samaritan's Purse is an organization with disaster relief teams that have responded to more than 65 disasters throughout North America. They have their own emergency operations center set up at Northview Community Church on Downs Road, east of Clearbrook Road. They are equipped with specialized flood recovery vehicles and equipment to help residents clean up their homes as quickly as possible once they are able to return home safely. If you are a homeowner in Abbotsford looking for cleanup support, I encourage you to call 1-833-738-7743. If you are looking to volunteer, you can sign up to do so with Samaritan's Purse on their website. Volunteers have been essential in helping the community throughout this emergency so far, and we know they will continue to play a big role moving forward. Thank you to everyone who pitched in for helping your neighbors and getting our community through this. We expect to share more information about our Return to Home program for evacuees tomorrow. As evacuation orders start to lift, we want to ensure people have access to the information and resources they need. As always, we will continue to keep you informed of changes and updates in the water levels through our daily updates, as well as on the City of Abbotsford website and social media channels. That is my update for you today, and I will now take any questions.
Thank you, Mayor Braun. Kamal Karmali with Global News. Tough to keep track of the math. So how many homes are still under evacuation order? And then do you have the number of homes under evacuation alert at this point?
I don't have the number. Sumas Prairie, other than Huntington Village, is under evacuation order, the entire Sumas Prairie.
And I know you said it still will take some time. Do you have a clear timeline and what actions still need to be taken by the city to, I guess, get to a point where the evacuation order would be lifted?
Well, we're going to unpack that tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But in the lake bottom, or the lake bottom, that's a lake that's 4.5 kilometers across or diameter, and it's 5 to 6 feet deep, at 6 or 7 inches a day. We're going to be there pumping for weeks yet.
Can you just paint a picture for our viewers in terms of the action that the city is taking today, in terms of crews out there that are pumping pools of water out, or what other efforts are being made today? How many staff do you have out on the job, and what are they doing?
I don't have a number. I don't get into the daily operations, but I don't think there's any pumps out there pumping. This is all gravity towards Barrowtown and to our floodgates. So that water just has to keep flowing out of those ice cube trays that I talked about, one field to another field and to another, until it goes out. I mean, there is, I don't know, trillions of gallons of water out there. So I haven't done that calculation, but it's a lot of water.
Any other efforts by the city being done today, though, in terms of city crews out there?
We've got crews all over the place, but they're not pumping out water. There's just too much water there.
What are they doing?
Well, they're assessing roads, bridges, the rapid deployment or the rapid damage teams are out there. But you're getting down to a level that I need our city manager. I don't get involved in that. I'm trying very hard to stay at 30,000 feet.
$2,000 per household from the city. That's a lump sum per household that has had to be evacuated. And can you foresee that becoming amount increasing, as needs become more dire?
I'm glad you asked that question, because it's not the city that's providing the $2,000. It's the Red Cross. That is an agreement that the BC province made with the Red Cross. The city doesn't have funds out of property taxes to do those kinds of things. That's just, I know that's just the tip of the iceberg for those farmers, because many of them have hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it's a start for people to get back in their homes. So I'm thankful for the province and the Red Cross for having come to that agreement. But that is not money from the city.
I just wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the water that's left there. So you're saying weeks and weeks to get that pumped out. Could it be longer than that? Could it be months to get all of that water out?
No, it won't be. It won't be multiple months. But I'm, based on if it's 6 feet of water and we're pumping out 6 inches a day, then you know roughly how long that's going to take. But this is influenced by rainfall. Yesterday we only decreased it by 1 inch. So now today and tomorrow it's going to be nice. I expect tomorrow we'll pump the same or maybe even a little bit more, because as we pump it out, that lake is decreasing, or the diameter of it is decreasing. So the last portion will go a little faster, but I'm guessing we're still going to be out there 2 or 3 weeks. Not out there. The Barrowtown pumps and the canal is doing all the work, and that's going to take 2 or 3 more weeks. And the reason I mention that is so that people who are affected in that area, you're not going to be able to get into your homes for at least a couple of 3 weeks, but we'll update as we go and we'll do some modeling on that as well in the days ahead.
You talked also about damage assessments being done. And I mean, I know you're not going to have specifics maybe, but any idea how extensive damage to roads and other infrastructure is? I mean, we know about homes being damaged and barns and people's private property, but what about as far as, you know, public property?
Well, we're getting down to the detail of the operations again. I know that there's still water main breaks out there, and we can't see them yet until that water is pumped lower, because it's so muddy that you can't see down 5 or 6 feet. But through isolating of valves, we can determine that the break is somewhere in the center of that lake, a big break. And so that has to be repaired. But in terms of damage, I have not been in one house or barn myself. Our staff and their assessment teams are doing that with the Task Force 1, Canadian Task Force 1 as well. That's their jobs. But they have to monitor, because some of this property on the western portion of Sumas Prairie was reflooded. It was dry before, and now it's got water in it again, and it's still coming across the border. So we have to wait for that water to subside, and it goes through the Sumas River on the west side of the dike and out through the floodgates. That's the only way that water will disappear. There's not enough pumps in British Columbia, the little ones that we see around, to pump that water out. That's just impossible. But our teams are building inspectors, and we've had help from other building inspectors from other cities to help in the assessment. And some of this will become a little more clear to you tomorrow. We'll probably have a storyboard up here for you, and I'll walk you through that tomorrow. And some of these questions will be answered tomorrow. Anyone else? Don't see any other hands, so thank you very much. And our next briefing will take place tomorrow at 2 p.m. Thank you.